And we're back at SEC Media Days as the afternoon rolls along, and we're going to preview the LSU Tigers. The Tigers, of course, you always think about them as strong contenders for the SEC West as well as the SEC Championship, and for that matter, the National Championship. And I'm sure folks in Baton Rouge are feeling decent about this year's team. They lost some good players from last year's team. They are one team that really gets hit hard by juniors leaving early for the NFL because they recruit so well. You look at their two-deep depth chart, and it is loaded with the freshmen straight out of high school and redshirt freshmen. So those young players are going to play a prominent role for Les Miles and his group this coming season. 4 straight years, LSU has won at least 10 games. And I think it might be a bit of a challenge for them to match that this year. In filling out my preseason SEC West ranking, I couldn't put LSU any higher than 3rd. I've got Auburn 1, Alabama 2, and then LSU. They'll start a new quarterback in Anthony Jennings this year, who came on when Mettenberger got hurt the end of last season, and he's inexperienced, of course. The running game may fall into the hands of a highly touted freshman, Leonard Fournette, very highly acclaimed running back. He's got a couple of veterans ahead of him, but he's the guy that might indeed step in and be the primary weapon out of the backfield. The Tigers return much of their offensive line, so that's a positive for them. 4 of their starters from last year on the offensive line are back. And on defense, a couple of guys up front, a couple of linebackers return, so John Chavis has got to fill in some holes on that side of the ball as well. The schedule for the Tigers, when you think about where their tough games are going to be this coming season, they open up with a pretty soft slate of Sam Houston State, Louisiana Monroe. They get Mississippi State at home. That could be a pretty good ball game because I think Mississippi State's going to be an improved team. And then New Mexico State, 102,000 fans at their home games. Big home field advantage for LSU. They should open up 4-0, but then they go to Auburn. That's going to be huge as far as the West race is concerned. Then they go to Florida. They also have to go to Arkansas and to Texas A&M the last 2 weeks. I think, they should win those last 2 games. The key for them, of course, is going to be that Auburn game, and then they get Alabama at home in November. So typical in the West, LSU, Alabama, Auburn, how those teams fare against one another right now pretty much decides how things will play out in the West. Les Miles was interesting to listen to today. He began his comments by talking about his summer and his visit to Austin, Texas, and for family reasons, not for football reasons. And then he got into his football team, and as always, he feels good about his team. He believes they'll be right there competing for championship. We've got his comments, some of them from today, right below me here on this page, as we preview the LSU Tigers. And coming up in a little bit, we'll wrap up the day with Brett Bielema from Arkansas and the rundown on the Razorbacks. So stay with us here, sportstalksc.com. We've got more to come from here in Hoover.